Okay, everybody, welcome back to part 3 of our pilot episode of Mind Over Chatter.
What's
What's
the
the
matter?
matter?
We don't know what we're doing.
Oh.
So, in all honesty, this is all about congruence and being genuine. I can't remember where we ended. What were we talking about?
We were talking about our own experiences as students.
Yeah, but there was an end
yeah.
point where I said that'd be something good to bring us
Oh, we
back
was on
to.
about how this course can help you like reflect on relationships outside of this
Yeah,
course.
yeah, that was it. Very good point, Jess. You're going to get a star in your next class because you're remembering everything.
As long
so
as it's research.
as long as it's research, yes.
Yeah.
Well, it will be. It's your favourite module, and everybody's. Everybody loves a bit of research within counselling and psychotherapy. So, and speaking of research, this is seamless. Tom, is it time for your?
Uh-oh, it feels
Yeah.
like Secret Santa. at
Is
this
it
point,
time
yeah.
for your butt plug?
Yes,
Tommy's
yes.
getting a star.
Or,
Yeah.
as we say in Chorley, book.
Yeah,
Tom's written a book.
yeah, that is my book. Yeah, so
Yes.
I have written a book.
Do you want to pass it him?
I
I'm gonna
feel
pass it to you.
I feel awfully uncomfortable about self-promotion. But yeah, this is my book.
Hold it up to the
This
camera.
is it. Where is the camera?
Oh, that's the
Maybe
That's
that
my
one.
camera.
right
book.
there.
Yeah, there it is,
Emma,
there's my
describe the
book,
cover
yeah.
for the people
My
who are
book.
just
It
listening.
is a black base with a little bit of, I don't know, marbling, colorful marbling, maybe rainbow, but there's not every color of the rainbow there. But if you look hard enough, maybe. But I don't know if anyone who can't see and just listening doesn't know what colors are. So I'm just going to say it's a black book cover.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
And Jess or Kim, what's the title of the book?
Practical counselling skills. I can't see that far. I need specs over.
Your questions answered.
Yeah. So it's essentially my book is a book in which I have explained very clearly, I hope, the essential counselling skills every trainee is going to need to get to grips with. And because I've done a lot of work with students around skills-based things, I also get a lot of questions, and there are very, very frequently asked questions around certain skills. So most of this book is populated by student questions and my responses to those student questions. So hopefully they'll resonate with any trainee counsellor. So it outlines very clearly the skills you need to learn, but also more specifically some of the questions. It addresses some of the questions that students have about those skills.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's really it. I'm not very good at plugging
okay,
my
well,
book.
well, there's a couple of things within this, right? First of all, I just want to point out that you have simplexed counselling skills.
Simplex,
Yeah.
yeah.
But also, what the really good point of the book is the fact that you have the demonstrations as well. So within the book, if you're is there an e-version yet?
There will be. I'm not sure if there is yet.
Are you going to narrate it?
Ooh, an
I have
audio
been asked that
version.
question
An audio
before,
book, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's not a conversation I've had yet with anyone.
Okay.
But maybe. Who
Well, you
knows?
could
That'd be
do.
quite nice, yeah.
You have a voice for radio.
Yeah.
Well, I've got
Yeah.
a cold at the moment. I
Right.
think I've got a face for radio. I think
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what they say. Yeah, yeah. No, I've got a cold at the moment, so I'm not
Right.
usually. I don't sound this attractive usually.
Well, I think the sexy nasally, the voice would be good for the book.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
think it
so-
quite fit the theme.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good
Yeah.
point. A bit like my dance, a little bit like inappropriate. But anyway, but it has these videos which you actually do demonstrate the skills, which
Yeah.
are available if it was an ebook by clicking on a link. But in the book, you have QR codes so people can
Yeah.
and there's about 7 of them. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think there's 6
6,
actually. Yeah.
Okay.
So they run from chapter
6, 7.
2 to 7.
Mm.
What's that, Emma? Sorry.
No.
Nothing.
She
I
said
apologise.
6, 7.
I
Oh,
did.
no.
Were you going to do
something.
that with your
6,
hands?
7,
No, I
20.
was
I
not.
I think
don't
you were,
understand
weren't you?
that.
Yeah.
I don't get it
Yeah.
either. I just thought it'd be funny to say.
Yeah.
Just,
Well,
just
I mean,
for
this is the right
context,
place to say it. So, yeah.
for context, this is December 2025. 6-7 is a thing. If
Sadly.
you listen to this in the future and you don't know what 6-7 is, it doesn't matter.
I don't know it now, and
doesn't
I
I'm
hope
matter.
it
here.
dies next year.
Yeah.
Oh, it's something that children do. They do that. 6, 7. I don't fully
Yeah.
understand
It's
it. Keir Starmer went to a primary
school and he did it.
and
Oh
he
my
did
gosh,
it. He got
yeah.
into trouble because he was encouraging the kids to do it, and they've been
Everyone
told
do it.
not
Everyone
to
do
do
it. That's
it.
what he said.
And I realised
like
that
bottle
I'm doing it
flipping.
right now, and I don't even know why. It's almost like I'm juggling
Yeah.
non-existent balls.
Mm-hmm.
I have 2 children at primary school, and I asked them what is 6, 7, and they won't tell me. Almost like they've been
It
sworn to
literally just
secrecy.
means nothing. That's
Thing.
literally it.
It's
It
so
is just
Yeah.
annoying.
It
That's all
originated
it
from this
is.
basketball player who used to do interviews, and then he
Right.
would just like they'd ask him to rate the game. Every
Yeah.
interview, he'd say 6, 7, and do that.
I remember you
Yeah,
telling me this.
and then
actually.
like some kid went viral because he like screamed it at a match, and they recorded his face screaming,
Okay.
so it went viral
There
again.
we are.
I'm
There
glad.
we are.
I'm glad we're here because you've just educated me. Em.
You're
Thank you
welcome
very
on
much.
some
Yeah.
a little bit of brain
Yeah.
rot lore.
So,
Yeah.
but I'm distinctly aware we were talking about Tom's book, and now we're talking about 6, 7.
I
So,
apologize.
but yeah, so we've got these demonstrations. I mean, I've heard that one of the people in the demonstrations is very good.
Yeah,
He's there's just something about him that is charisma. There's something about him that's like
Yeah,
it's your
there's-
twin brother, yeah, because he's just like you, yeah. So,
well,
so-
my twin brother, isn't he?
Yeah,
Actually,
yeah.
So some people, it has been said to me, it just looks like you're interviewing yourself,
Mm.
but with longer hair. No, it's with 2 different people. But also there is another wonderful contributor, and that's Nigel. Nigel does. He he works with me, in several of the videos. You give me some really good content to work with. It's truthful, but it's appropriate, to the for the purposes of the recordings,
Yeah.
and it allows me to develop certain skills such as questioning, and offer analysis on that as well.
Mm.
So it's really really helpful.
Yeah.
So thank you,
Oh,
Nigel.
well, thank you.
You
It's a-
do play a significant part in the interactive element of the book. There's QR codes at the end of each of those chapters. Scan the QR code, and it'll take you to a video demonstrating such skills. And
Excellent.
you'll get to see me and Nigel in action. I
Yeah.
guess.
Okay. And thank you. It was a good experience to get involved. So thank you for
I
that.
feel like
So
the audience should clap.
yeah, I mean this audience is come on, get involved. So and then just one final question, because I'm distinctly aware of your uncomfortableness in talking about your own book, right? Well, they've got 2 actually, right? The first one is where would it be available?
Yeah, it's available on Amazon.
Okay.
And it's also available via the publisher.
Right.
My publisher is PCCS Books. PCCS Books. They're a wonderful organisation. As a first-time author, there was lots of unknowns for me, and they guided me through the process really, really well. Yeah, and they've also got other books of a similar ilk, if you will, that I think would be beneficial to students too.
Okay, so thank you for that. And that perfectly leads me back to a question I was going to ask, which is what we started off in episode 1 of this, the beginner's mindset. You've never written a book before, so what was that experience like?
It was terrifying,
Yeah.
but good as well.
Yeah.
It was terrifying but good. I had an opportunity to really write down and consider and elaborate on the work that I do with students. So it's a great way of reflecting what I do. So I enjoyed it. For a vast majority of the book, I really, really enjoyed it,
Yeah.
and didn't want it to stop. In fact, but there were other challenges as well.
Yeah.
Times when confidence hits in, and self-doubt hits in, sort of lack of confidence. I mean,
Yeah.
I've never done this before. Right? How can I write? Never seen myself as an author. But I was supported by my family, and also my editor was fantastic too. So I had sufficient support to take me through, and I could see it developing. I could see that it was turning into something that I was really proud of.
Okay, good. Thank you
Yeah.
very much. Come on. Woo, that's good. It's an amazing achievement. Yeah, I get why there's that kind of like reluctance to kind of like self-promote and go, look at me, I'm good, I've written a book, but it is a great achievement. So
Yeah,
well done
thank
for
you
that.
very
So,
much. Thank you.
yeah.
And when the book launched a few weeks ago, Naomi, who's in the audience now, she spoke about the book, like, and in a way, and I was just sitting there going, you absolutely get it, in a way that I feel like I'm just not able to explain it in the way that Naomi was able to. It's like she absolutely got it, and that felt very, very special for me.
Oh.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And for the listeners and anybody, because you can't see this, Naomi's doing a little heart sign with her hands. So okay
Yeah.
then. So back to my another chatter.
What's the matter?
What's
Anyway,
the matter?
chapter 3 tells you about this.
So-
No,
I'm
So-
gonna say for the listeners, Tom's
thank you.
actually let all of the fame go to his head. He's been demanding coffee all
Yeah, that
morning,
is
flicking
true.
his fingers
That's
at us.
true. We had to get M&Ms in, and we had to remove all of the purple ones, didn't we?
yeah, that is a medical
Yeah.
condition. LLMs.
And they weren't M&Ms. Anyway, so we ended the last one about this notion of, as we talked about, relationships changing, and possibly. So I'm just wondering if any of you three have noticed that. But also in the last episode, I talked about this idea of when I first turned up to my training, I thought I knew it all because I'd done all this kind of self-help work. And you don't mind, Kim, you sharing what we were talking about just before we started rolling, that you felt the same. And there was one incident also linked to said book and the demonstrations which changed that. So would you mind sharing that story?
So I've actually been in counselling before coming into uni, and I remember when I first started this class, I thought I'd had it all kind of sorted out. I'd been working on a mental health ward and things like that, so I was like, I've got my foot in the door already. And I remember I kind of came in with this kind of like, I don't want to say cocky attitude, but I did. And I remember there was one of our first classes with Nigel and Tom. There was actually a session that they kind of did to show us kind of skills. And the content of it kind of sat and had me thinking. And it was, I remember just crying in the audience because of what was being spoken about. To the point where I was trying so hard to hold back the tears. And I remember coming down to try and ask Nigel a question. And as soon as the words tried to leave my mouth, I just remember crying. And you were very awkward because she was like, I've got a class to go to and now I have a crying person in front of me. And it kind of made me realise that I've probably got a lot more developing to go through, should I say, before I kind of get to the cocky feeling that I had when I first started.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you for sharing that, because I think that's important, because I feel a lot of people will turn up thinking, yeah, I've done all the work, especially if they've had therapy or they're in therapy. And one of the things which happens quite a lot with trainee therapists or people who apply for this course is the reason they apply is because they've either been in therapy or they had therapy and the therapist helped them a lot. So they think, oh, I want to do that too. That's not necessarily always the best person to try and be a therapist. So just kind of like, think about people's motivations for wanting to kind of do this course. So has anyone else, any of them got any comments on that? Because you seem to be like agreeing with that.
Oh, no, I was agreeing with what you were saying about, like, I feel like, I don't know, I adore this course, honestly, just because I had no idea what I was getting myself into.
Yeah.
And when I started it, I swapped over from psychology, so PPC.
I remember.
And when you were the one who made me change, actually, and we talk about this all the time, because Nigel was just like, actually, all of you won't actually be continuing this course next year, so if you want to change, maybe you can, we'll see. And you guys did the interviews, and I don't think if you had said anything, I would be where I wanted to be, and I'm really glad that I'm here.
Okay.
I feel like the course has changed me, and I'm glad that I went into it not having any clue what was going on, because I feel like if I had gone into it doing research and stuff like that, I would have come prepared. But I feel like the shock of the change made me change even more and made me work harder to change as well.
Okay, and that's a good point, because a lot of people think that psychotherapy and psychology are very similar things. And they are, and to some, there is a lot of overlap. But psychology is a lot more based on evidence-based and generalizations and psychometric testing rather than psychotherapy, which is a bit more, especially the humanistic approach which we teach, is about just prizing that person as an individual, so we don't really generalize. So, and you've made that shift, that change.
Yeah, and I think I knew it from psychology A-levels and then doing the psychology classes in first year that this course was better suited for me because there's more hands-on, more practicality, and it also helps that we graduate with the
with a
certificate.
well, you
Is it certificate?
well you graduate and you're a qualified
Yeah,
therapist because
yeah.
you've done the 100 hours at least of client work
Yeah.
and you've had the supervision and you've done everything needed to make you fully prepared to go out there and be out there in the real world with clients. Psychology degree, there's no. I don't want to diminish a psychology degree in any
Oh,
way.
I'll diminish it for you.
Well, that's your decision. Because I've got a psychology degree, I'll have you know, and I found it very very interesting to study it, and I actually loved studying my degree. My problem was when it finished, I didn't. Well, what do I do next?
Yeah.
But that's because I didn't know. Bring it back to what this is about. I don't have a clue what I'm doing, and sometimes I actually feel that in life. I don't know what I'm doing. So. But we've got what have we got left? 10 minutes left of this final session. So we've talked about a few different things. Starting off with this thread of this beginner's mindset of like just acknowledging we don't know what we're doing, which I think is very important as therapists. But we've moved around and we've talked about self-development and what we learn. And we still ended that last one with this idea about how it can impact relationships. So
Yeah.
I'd like to bring it back to that if anyone's got anything they'd like to share about how it has influenced the way you relate to others or friends or your actual main relationships.
My relationship actually, my partner this year has been saying to me like, "Are you sure you still want to do this?" Because he said this is, he sees me as quite unhappy. But I've said to him, I've said multiple times like, this is because I'm going through development with uni.
Thank you for that, and that's part of what this podcast is about: this destigmatization of the mental health and therapy, and like I said, the 3Ds. Remember what the other 2 Ds were?
De-jargonizing.
Yes, and I'm impressed.
Anyone else remember?
De-academic.
That's it.
Big
Yeah.
words.
That big
Not
one,
even a
yeah.
real word. Not even a real
I just
word.
remembered they weren't real words. That was my
Well,
issue.
I think I have made many non-real words today, which is probably about 90% of what I've spoken is a
Simplex.
non-real word.
Simplex, yeah.
So,
Simplex.
and I've
That's a
actually,
wrestling move in its suplex.
it is
Yeah,
also
yeah.
a wrestling move, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and also, like I was explaining to everybody in the audience and in this podcast, I've not been playing a real trumpet either.
Shocking.
Yeah.
That is a
We
shock,
know.
That is a shock.
That was the biggest surprise for the people that are just listening. That wasn't a trumpet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So
Sorry to break
right.
your heart.
If you close your eyes, actually.
So right, 5 minutes left then. So anything else? Any final words on what we've talked about from anybody?
Oh, I just wanted to pick up on what Kim said in the question that you asked about like different relationships and stuff like that. I think one of the foundations that we learn when we're doing counseling, like one of the first things you guys teach us is the difference between sympathy and empathy. And I think what I struggled with while doing this course and like dealing with outside relationships is people calling themselves empathetic or asking for empathy when really they don't have the same meaning that we get
Yeah.
taught about
Yeah.
empathy. Because I have friends who swear down that they're empathetic, but I think they're just sympathetic. Because when you truly ask them to understand where someone else is coming from, they're just like, oh, well, I can't understand, so I don't understand why they're upset. But it's just like, I could understand why they're upset, but still disagree with them. And I feel like they only understand empathy as them feeling sad when someone else is sad, or
Yeah.
feeling angry because they understand, like, I don't know. Yeah. But that's one of the things I struggled with, because a lot of, especially in my family, I think it's just like, they cannot understand your emotion, so they choose not to understand you or where you're coming from. And I think that's one of the things I had to struggle with, trying to I don't want to say teach, but learn together with them on the differences and truly what empathy is.
And I can sense that was the difficult for you to kind of like
Articulate, yeah.
Okay, then so that's a really good point. And even within this podcast, we've talked about empathy and my analogy with Mr. Hawke and the acting, and and we've kind of realised that that's not quite right, because we're not trying to be another person. We need to have that foot in, foot out, which is another dimension of empathy, which many people probably wouldn't get, especially if they're not trained to be a therapist.
My communication has got a lot better, so my relationships probably have worked on me, because what I've learned is that listening is communicating. which I probably wouldn't have thought of before, because I jump into the rescuer role, and if anyone comes to me with a problem, I'd be like, oh, you could do this, you could do that, you could do that. And sometimes people just need someone to listen, and me being silent is communicating a lot more than me trying to save it. So I think the fact that I can now adapt and I can recognise that in other people definitely helps improve relationship.
That was beautiful.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
really important.
Put it on a
exactly.
t-shirt.
Oh,
I
it
think
is.
there was this kind of sense, I think, among new trainees that if I'm not speaking, I'm not doing.
Yeah.
Whereas actually listening is really, really powerful.
I did my first recording session and I listened for a good 18 out of 20 minutes, and I thought, that's it, I'm going to get more bad now. But when you look at the situation, there was no need for me to say anything. There was subtle head nods and cues, and that's all that was needed.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's a lot more important than me trying to break up what someone's trying to say.
Yeah, and there's something there for me as well, linking what both of you just said around empathy and around listening to, because I think what I see sometimes is students going, okay, well, I can do empathy, I can do all of that, but then it gets to a point, well, now what? And they sort of go, well, now I need to say something, now I need to do something, tell them what to do. And actually, sometimes all a client needs is to be heard, truly empathised with, and accepted. And they can go forward and do what they feel they need to do without any direction from the therapist.
I think that's one thing I would say to anybody new is get ready to be comfortable in silence, because I think that's one thing I've noticed everybody struggles with in their sessions is that like what's it called? It's something silence, isn't it? There's a proper term for using it in counselling, but
appropriate use of silence.
Yeah, like appropriate use of silence, of just allowing them to have that minute to maybe add a little bit extra. And the amount of times that we've had other students doing skills and I've been in that, and I've maybe got a little bit more, and they've kind of panicked and gone, and how do you feel about that?
I feel like the whole topic of silence is such a massive one, that it could be one that maybe in itself
on to the
become
next
its own.
episode.
We've
its
only
own
got
topic
50
to-
seconds left in this episode, so maybe episode the next one. Well, episode 2 really. This is just part 3 of episode 1, right? We could kick off with this idea of silence, and because too many students, when they're training, they think they need to do something to or for the client, and they don't. And you kind of like what you're summing up. Many people go through life where nobody ever fully listens or understands, and sometimes that's just enough to
It's so
spend some time.
important to hold space for people.
Yeah. Okay then, so we're gonna have to wrap up the part 3, the final bit of episode 1 of Mind Over Chatter.
What's the
matter?
We don't know what we're doing. So
Don't forget your trumpet.
are we gonna end it?
Trumpet.
All right then, we're gonna end
trumpet.
then.
That's Baker Street, isn't it?